Hello, and welcome to another episode of Video Game Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about Ninjala on the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so first things first, Ninjala is free. It's 100% free. It's free to download, it's free to play. You don't need the Nintendo Online Pass thing. You just download it and start playing multiplayer online for free. Very similar to Bomberman, more specifically Super Bomberman R Online. And if you haven't seen my review for that game, I do encourage you to go through the playlist and check that out. That game is incredible, in my opinion. But anyways, yeah, so Ninjala. Like I said, it's free, so, I encourage you, if you're at all curious or inclined, to go check it out for yourself and form your own opinion. The download, if I remember correctly, is 5.5 gigs. So what is this game, and what did I think of it? I'm gonna keep this pretty short, I think, and to the point. It's kind of a battle royale style game, okay, because you're fighting in an arena which is enclosed by this sort of translucent force field. However, at least in the online matches that I played, there's one distinct difference between this and other battle royale games, and that is typically in this genre, the invisible force field that surrounds the play area that I mentioned usually over the course of time shrinks, or in other words encloses the players tighter and tighter in together so that you have less and less room to roam around or escape. Or by the end of the match in these battle royale games, typically you're forced to fight in a pretty tight space. And that is absent here, and that could be okay if the level design were put together with that in mind. I think online I played three different maps. I played matches in online, and the smallest of those maps I feel like works perfectly. You've got some walls, some barriers, and things like that to separate the battle space a little bit, so you can run around and try to collect power-ups and that sort of thing. But you're also thrown together so that should you want to engage, with another player, like basically try to take someone else out, which is the object of the game. It's basically a deathmatch style, you want to be the last one standing type of a situation. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time traversing the grounds to find an opponent or opponents. And in all but the smallest maps, that's what winds up happening. I spend a lot of time not engaged in combat, which is not really what you want to be doing in a game like this. And so it's hard to rack up points because I can't even find anybody to fight. And so if you had the force field shrinking and thus forcing the remaining players together, then that would alleviate that problem. And I would probably suggest adding that feature with a little bit of a longer match time, because the other problem is the matches are only, I want to say, 3 minutes long. And so I felt like I was spending as much time waiting for a match as I was actually playing matches. And then once I get into the match, you've got 3 minutes to find people and defeat them. And then, of course, when they respawn, you don't know where they've respawned to. And so the majority of the maps in this game are just too big, because it's eight players per map, and some of these maps are just too big for 8 players. You're going to spend all the time, trying to find somebody to get into a conflict with, or like I said, at least I did. And part of the reason for that is most of your combat is melee. So you have to get right up to your opponent. It's not like a first-person shooter deathmatch where you can, shoot somebody from, however far away. You have to actually get up close and personal, and on a larger map, even if you see someone off in the distance, you know, they're running around like a rabid squirrel, just like pretty much everyone else. And so even if you try to pursue them, a lot of times, like, you'll just wind up losing them. And, you know, and yes, so that. Now, you can have, let's see, so you've got melee attacks, like I said. You've got actually 3 different types of melee attacks that work sort of like paper, rock, scissors. One defeats the other, if that makes sense, hopefully. You also have a block or a defensive move. You can shoot like a bubblegum bubble, and you've got a couple of other abilities. You can dash, but those abilities, in my experience at least, just didn't make up the distance to be able to, like I said, to engage in combat a lot of times. So that was my experience with the game. Also, like, the graphical style looks very childish, and I feel like that does sort of fit the gameplay because, you know, as I've described so far, I just feel like there's a lot to this game that I would fix, but maybe younger players possibly wouldn't mind these complaints as much. And then also, once you do finally engage someone in melee combat, you know, like I said, they did try to include other techniques to make the gameplay a little more sophisticated, but I found that a lot of times, once you engage somebody in combat, it gets kind of button mashy, which is not ideal for me. You know, I like a little more complexity, a little more strategy to my combat, and I just felt like that was lacking here. And again, if you look at the visuals, you know, you'd probably say to yourself, like, well, that's, you know, look at it, it's a kid's game. That's not really that surprising that it's, you know, maybe more simplistic than, you know, someone my age would prefer. But, you know, I was excited to give this game a chance because its visual style reminded me of Splatoon, which I have never played because it's not free, and my understanding is that it does require a Nintendo Online Pass to play matches online into Splatoon. But, you know, I've heard a lot of really positive things about Splatoon. People swear that it's a great game, despite the fact that it does look like it is intended for very young children. And so with that in mind, I thought I'd give Ninjala a try. And it wasn't for me, but I encourage you guys to form your own opinions, check it out for yourself, and I'm going to wrap it up there. That's Ninjala on the Nintendo Switch. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please click like and subscribe and click the little bell to get notifications when I put out a new video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.